and participants. Let's see if I can figure out how to get the participants in here. And I'm going to hit, there's got to be like a joint admit all. That's the button I was looking for.
That's the one.
Admit. Well, you would think it would work. Jen,
I see popping in. It looks like everyone's popping in.
Things are happening.
There we go. There's some people. All right. Anybody else in the waiting room? Make sure I don't miss anybody.
And I can keep an eye on that as we go through.
Yeah, because I feel, I don't know what I feel going back and forth. I work on multiple screens. Hey, welcome everybody. We are so excited to be here. And I'm Michael DeLon, founder and president of Paperback Expert. And this is a really fun co-partner presentation that I have with my dear friends at Spotlight Branding. And I'm going to let you two introduce yourself, because I think I would just probably slaughter it and not do you justice.
No, never, Michael. No, Jana, you go first. You're better at this than I am. Go for it.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, hi, I'm Jana. I'm with Spotlight Branding. I am one of our business development managers, and I am here mostly to just man the chat, any links. I'll kind of monitor for questions and whatnot. But Eddie, who is one of our copywriters, will be our co-host for the Spotlight Branding side. And I'll let him introduce himself a bit.
Hey, everybody. I am Eddie DiZallo. I am a copywriter at Spotlight Branding that does content marketing almost exclusively for attorneys. I write content for blogs, social media, websites. We work on podcasts. I mean, you name any sort of touch point that we have with clients, we'll create the content for it. So now we're here partnered with Michael. We're here to talk about Sticky Note.
Absolutely. So in the format of this really is discussion. Obviously, we have kind of a players. You're not going to see slides from us necessarily today, but we want to talk about this formula that we have seen play out over and over and over again in marketing for attorneys, of how do you really position yourself in the market so that you're easily identified, right? How do you do that?
Yeah.
And it comes down to having a formula. And what I found, I don't know about y'all, but when I was in math class, I remember geometry, Mr. Fox, and he had those geometry formulas that you had to follow. And what I found is if I followed the formula, the answer kind of worked out right. It's just when I fudged the formula.
Karen, how you doing, Tom?
I got in there. Hey, we need to mute somebody.
Pretty good. So what year are we looking at?
See if I can find what's
There
coming.
you go.
Got her.
There you go. Thank you.
No worries.
It's like swatting a fly. Got it. So here's as we've been working together. So Spotlight Branding works with attorneys to really get your message crystal clear and create good branding, right? Good stickiness in the mind. And one of the things they do is great consistent marketing. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, because they've got this, I call it a flywheel. You guys have a better name for it, but it's
called the content loop, but flywheel works too.
A content loop. So, and when I first saw that, I mean, I honestly just kind of stopped and looked at it and went, now that's just stinking brilliant, because it allows you to put a piece of content out and use it multiple times. Yep. Not just today, but over time. And there's reasons why you want to do that. I'm going to, and as we get down, I'm going to let Eddie kind of talk about that. But
always, yeah, it's great.
It was really fun when we put this thing together, because we've been working on this for about, I don't know, 6 weeks or so.
Yeah.
I got in the mail, and this is just a God thing, right? So we call this the sticky note formula, right? And in all of the emails leading up to this, we're talking about Post-it notes and sticky notes and all that. And I had a vendor of mine send me this in the mail. I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's a package of sticky notes that look like cassettes. Now, Jana, you don't know what a cassette is, but it's a medium to play music from years ago.
But I think everybody else does except for Jana. I think we're good.
That's right. That's right.
Mark, look.
I see Mark tomorrow. I know Mark knows what these are. So but I thought it was amazing to get in the mail sticky notes as we were thinking about sticky notes in marketing, right? So let's look at the sticky note formula at a high level, and we're just going to dive in. And what I want our audience today to understand is we would love for this to be interactive. Meaning, as we talk about different parts of the sticky note formula, if you have a question, throw it in the chat. Jana's monitoring that. We may just bring you on screen and have you ask your question. It's totally available, okay? If we can help you unstick some of your marketing today, that'd be amazing, right? So now we don't have time to do a full-blown like hot seat with you, but we want to provide any help we can. So as we look at the sticky note formula, there's really 3 parts that we're going to talk about today. And the first part is a clear message.
Yep.
Okay. So a clear message is so important because we all deal in a very cluttered content environment. I know there are at least, I mean, I live just outside of Lexington, Kentucky. I can't tell you how many attorneys there are in Lexington, right? Or even in my little small town of Nicholasville, there are tons of attorneys.
A lot.
And if you don't have a clear message that separates you, that differentiates you, you sound like Charlie Brown's teacher. Right? And everybody just, I had that teacher in high school, and nobody, you know, everybody just tunes you out.
Was it also Mr. Fox?
No, Mr. Fox was amazing. Mr.
Right.
Fox stuttered and he would come to it, and he was great. We loved Mr.
Love
Fox.
Mr. Fox.
We love Mr. Fox. It was the other guy. It was Mrs. Lacey, but because she's passed away, I can say that now.
Okay, good. Not
But
that
a
she's-
clear message. Now, I want to dialogue a little bit here about Eddie with message and the importance of message. I'm convinced, at least for how I do things. I've been doing what I do since 2013, so 10, 11 years. I've never created a message for one of my clients. What I have done is discovered the message that they have within them that they're not using, and it's that message that separates them. Have you found similar things?
Absolutely. I mean, I remember talking to an attorney in New York City. You talk about attorneys packed into small places, right?
Yeah.
And we talk about how to get a message across in that sort of massive sea. And I remember asking him one time, I said, why would someone go to you for business law or estate planning versus the guy next door? And he said, great question. And right. And the answer is, we don't create anything. I was like, you have it. There's something about you. It's like the M&Ms. Have you ever seen Mad Men, right? They don't have to, everyone's selling the same thing. They just have to say something different. Once you say that, like, M&Ms melt in your mouth, that takes away from everything. But yeah, there's something about you, your service, that is organic to you, that is going to come across that nobody else can say once you say it.
Yeah. And it's that message that makes you human, right?
Yeah.
It makes you approachable. Why is it that we wait for that first meeting to start the dialogue, to find common ground, right? Why don't you do that way ahead of time with a message that connects me with you to go, oh, you're my kind of person, right?
Yep.
And let me give one case in point, and you guys may have examples that you want to bring through this thing. I always have examples because when I teach visually. So I had an attorney, personal injury attorney. He was down in Florida. He was a little David against 2 monster Goliaths. Okay, Goliaths were spending $100,000 plus on marketing every single month. My little guy's like, I can't compete. And you looked at his website and his messaging, it was bland. And I said, okay, tell me, William, why are you an attorney? Why are you in Florida? Tell me the story. Yeah. And he went from Northeast down to Florida for a baseball scholarship. Mm-hmm. On track, he was going to go to the pros in pitching baseball. That's how good he was. 2 years into college, he threw his arm out, had to have rehabilitation surgery, and went through a whole process, killed his baseball career, killed his scholarship. He had to pivot and become an attorney. Okay, that was a good thing. Well, I asked him, I said, so William, have you ever told that story to anybody? And he said, no. I said, we're going to, because that's an amazing story. Okay. So what we did is we took that story and we created his book. And I'm telling you this because clear message. Okay. We took his book and we made it. It's called When Life Throws You a Curveball. Mm-hmm. What to Do When You're Involved in a Serious Accident, by William Franke, baseball player turned attorney.
That's pretty good, Michael. I'm not gonna prop you up too much. That's pretty clever.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. So let's talk about clear message. So he now goes on, he pays to be on the morning TV show, and weather and all that stuff. And I said, William, when you go on TV next time, I want you to wear your attorney suit that you always wear, but I want you to carry a baseball mitt with a baseball because it's going to set you apart. It's going to open people's eyes and say, what in the world? And then I want you to tell the story. And I want you to say, if life has thrown you a curveball, if you got hit by a truck, slipped at work, bit by a dog, I understand where you are because I've been there. and I want to help you get your life back and get the settlement you deserve, why don't you get a free copy of my book, read about my story and how I can help you, and then let's sit down and talk about your specific case.
Yep. And now he's M&M's. They can't take that from him.
You can't compete against that.
Nope.
Okay. And what I want everybody on this presentation to understand is you have that story, but dare I say, you're not going to find it. You need an outside set of eyes, and that's what Eddie is masterful at doing. That's what we do, is help you discover that clear message, because now William can go on TV, he can go on his blog, he can go on his website, he can do webinars, he can go anywhere with one message that is memorable, and he never has to think about what to say anymore because it's his story, right? And it is always compelling to a new audience.
Always.
That's what a clear message does. I know you guys have story after story of how you've helped attorneys create this. What kind of a process is it working with Spotlight Branding when an attorney comes to you and they're probably, what's that? Explain that process.
You nailed it. I mean, the solo small law firm, which is almost what we exclusively work with, and you talked about being the little guy, and you cannot compete with the Goliaths. I mean, my brother works for the 23rd biggest law firm in the country. The what they put into it, you cannot compete with. So you feel like you're lost, right? I mean, just throwing this out there before we get into our process. I mean, I'm a massive Grateful Dead head. I'm a deadhead. The Grateful Dead toured, basically having about 2,000 or 3,000 people that followed them around, right? But nobody did what the Grateful Dead did. They didn't have a large audience. They didn't have the 60s type Led Zeppelin numbers, but they had something unique, and they had a group of people that followed them around. What we do for law firms is we let you know that even though the Goliath is out there, Goliath has a lot of people. What they don't have and will never have is your network, your connections, and your experiences and the relationships you have. They're not going to be able to take those from you because they know you. They're going to make the connection, that human connection with the guy on the curveball. If you can maintain that network, there's business out there. Like the Grateful Dead survived off a couple thousand people. You will survive and perhaps thrive off your existing network if you maintain contact with them. So that's what we're talking about. We're trying to maintain and get that network and get those people to follow you around. And the best part about that is they're willing to refer you to people that are like-minded. So if you, the friend of your friend is your friend, if you have a good client, they refer you, odds are they're going to be a client that doesn't keep you up at night too. And you know who I'm talking about. You know, you all have those clients. So that's what we do. That's exactly, we're helping the Davids fight the Goliaths with their existing network that cannot get taken away.
I love it. I love it, man. That is my message that I preach all the time, because we all have networks, right? And everybody you know probably knows 20 people, but let's just say they refer you to their friends, neighbors, relatives, business associates, and church members. That expands your sphere of influence 5 times 20. There's another 100 people easily by staying in touch. And back in the radio, I've got a background in Christian radios, 9.5 years in Christian radio sales. And the big phrase there was TOMA, top of mind awareness.
Bam.
And really, that's what we're talking about, is being a household name. And we help you do that with a clear message, and then what I call credible media.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about credible media, because people are, I think, before somebody actually chooses an attorney, I think they're probably doing some kind of online research, right? What have you found from your vantage point, sitting there writing copy on all these platforms? What are some of the best media platforms, channels that a small firm attorney needs to be really thinking about? Like, what's the first one where everybody should have a great one, and then how should it go out from there? What do you guys think? How do you guide people?
Bang for your buck. And this is going to be it's not social media, it's not videos, it's not YouTube. Bang for your buck. It's going to be a simple, basic newsletter to your existing audience. We're talking about that. You have the audience, but in order to farm from that versus hunting is going out getting cold leads. But in order to farm that existing audience, you have to stay in touch with them. Dollar for dollar amount of return on investment. You have to maintain a contact with that group. And the easiest way to do that is a informative newsletter. It doesn't have cookie recipes in there. Doesn't have cat videos, doesn't have dance videos. It has informative information that your clients want to read. They will invite you in and you will have a massively high open rate, upwards of maybe 40%, just by value-based educational content, dollar for dollar. Start with a newsletter.
Yep, that's
Absolutely.
great. And you're talking electronic newsletter.
Electronic newsletter, yeah, it's just electronic. Let's not get crazy. I mean, this is 2024. We can handle. We can hang.
Now, the other thing about a newsletter, the electronic, I'm a big email guy, right? We
Yeah.
send out a daily email out to our list and everything. And people are like, DeLon, nobody ever reads your emails. I'm like, well, actually they do. And I've got proof. But what's more important than the email, and sometimes more important than the newsletter, is you showing up in their inbox every day. They see your name. They may not always open it, but guess what? When they need something, when they need an attorney, guess who they're thinking of?
Top of mind awareness.
There it is. And but what you said something is I would call it a properly designed newsletter. I am not talking about beautiful graphics and all that stuff, which are important, but it's the content that goes into that newsletter. And what we'll talk about the next part of the sticky note form is the consistency. So what have you found? I mean, I can hear it already, Mark. You can probably hear it too. Oh, I don't have time to do that, and I don't. Monthly? What would you recommend when somebody
once a month? And I don't even, the majority of the concerns that people have with newsletter isn't that they don't have the time to do it, because we do it for you. I mean, we put the blog in there. We make everything. But what they don't is like, I'm going to annoy people. I don't want to annoy people. They don't want my newsletter. It's exactly what you were talking about. Worst case scenario, they delete it. And even if they delete it, it's still working because they saw your name. And again, it's just, it's maintained relationship. But again, I mean, you're not going to get 100% open rate. Nobody is. Nobody's going to be sitting around on Friday waiting for your newsletter to come out. But when it comes in their inbox, they see your name. If that topic resonates with them, they'll look. If it doesn't resonate, they archive and move on. It's that simple. You're not going to annoy anybody, but without a doubt, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's the cool thing about email is it's still there. Meaning, even if I delete it and I go search for your name, I can find it again. It's really cool. Yeah. So we've got that. We've got presence of let's talk website and messaging on website, because I talked to a client of mine who's just engaged somebody to redo their website, and it's going to take about 7 or 8 months. It's going to be a 5-figure thing. And I went, oh my goodness. And so I have a perspective that if you're a small law firm and you're struggling and you're trying to really get some traction, I don't think you need a massive website with 38,000 pages. I think you need a really simple website that engages your audience with what we would call a lead magnet of some nature to get them, because they're hitting your website, they're researching, they have a need. But now this is my contention. I would love to dialogue if you disagree. But what I find on most attorney websites, the number one call to action is either call us today or schedule a call with us. And I tell people it's too soon. Yeah, have a place where they can do that, but it shouldn't be in the prime real estate, right? You should have like an ebook download or a newsletter or a something. What do you do when you counsel and work with clients as far as what we would call a lead magnet, something to take a website browser and actually get them to engage, so now they're on your list to receive that e-newsletter once a month?
I'll tell you what, like right now, Sean Perkins, call my office right now and schedule a consultation with Jana. You're probably not going to do it. That's a huge ask, right? I mean, like, you have time, you have things going on in your life. Are you going to stop right now, not waste, but to spend time and money on something you might not get? That is a significant ask. And I think when you're talking about that, book a consultation here, it not only shows up on the website, it shows up over and over again in social media. It doesn't necessarily work. That is a tall ask. Start with the smallest ask possible. Are you willing to sign up for a newsletter? Are you willing to download this ebook? Because it doesn't waste time. There's no risk involved. Start with the smaller ask and build. So that's what we're looking for, that low threshold offer. We don't go right to consultation because it's a big ask. And frankly, Sean, you don't know me very well. We just met. And I know my friend Steve and I are deadheads, so I'm cool with that. Him and I guarantee we're like lifelong buddies. We don't even know. We might even ran into each other at a dead show. But the point is, it's a big ask. Steve might be more willing to book a consultation with me because we saw each other at a show, but you don't know me right now. So I'm saying, like, you got to get that low threshold offer, and content is a low threshold offer.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And I've never really thought about it this way before, but so we just moved here to Lexington area a couple months ago from Little Rock. Little Rock, I was there 20 years. I knew everybody in my church. I mean, I had a network built. I just ripped all that out. God planted me in this place. We've been searching for churches, found a church, landed in a church. First day, I did not go up to people the first day and say, hey, you want to go out for breakfast tomorrow? Can we do? It was
Get out of here, you strange person. Leave me alone.
Right. So we went there 2 or 3 or 4 weeks and I was like, hey man, do you want to go grab some coffee sometime and just find out? And they're like, yeah, let's go. It's the same thing in marketing. We're building relationships. Dare I say, good golly, folks, let's be human.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing I find about us. I work with a lot of attorneys, and a lot of them show up the same way. Like that stuffed shirt teacher I had, who was Charlie Brown's teacher. They all put on this persona that I graduated from such and such law school, and I have all these degrees, and I don't care. I trust that you're going to be really good at what you do. Can I relate with you? Can I share with you what's going on? Are you going to be compassionate? Do you have a bedside manner? And that's why I love a lot of short like videos. Even I do a ton of video, but it's right here in my office. Right? I don't have a great studio and I don't do makeup, as you can tell, but it's great, though. No, thank you. Thank you. But that's what I tell my client. I want you to show up just like you so that when I actually meet you, it's not a surprise. It's not a different person. Yep. I saw some dude's LinkedIn profile today. He's not an attorney, but and his picture was amazing, man. This guy works out and he's probably in his mid-50s and things. And then I went to his website or something and found the real picture of him, the updated picture. And I mean, immediately I'm like, that is not the same dude. Why do we do that? Yep. Be yourself, right? Because you want that. I've gotten off track. We're talking about credible media, yep. Right? So e-newsletter, monthly, right? Yep. Great, simple website. Simple. Okay. And then I know you guys do blogs and things and you repurpose those. So a website should have a blog component of some nature, and then talk about social media, because people are saying, people are on social media. They're all over the place. Yep. Your audience, and I'd love your perspective on it. I think your audience is everywhere. They're on every platform. Without a doubt. But you don't have the money most of the time to be dominant on all of those platforms. So I recommend you choose 1 or 2, yep. And you're consistent on those, just like your e-newsletter. Is that fair?
Yeah, if you have the time, if you're on your own, absolutely. I'd rather be consistent on 1 than sporadic and hodgepodge on 5. But I mean, I think for us, we do LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. We've dabbled in TikTok. I think I said LinkedIn already, and X, Twitter. So yeah, but you don't need a lot of ideas, and people get intimidated. I need an idea every day to post, but we call it content multiplication, right? You take a blog, the blog goes in the newsletter, the blog gets repurposed on social media as educational content. Now you took one idea and multiplied. Now you're putting on every different platform. So, excuse me. Now you talk about 20 or 30 different touch points just from one basic idea. You don't need one, you just need one. And that can get you 20 or 30 pieces of content. And again, every one of those is a touch point that goes back to top of mind awareness and generating those referrals and nurturing a relationship within your existing network. It's there. Yeah. You just gotta be friends with it.
You just gotta be friends with it. And we're not even talking about all the SEO links and everything that brings you back. And
not at all.
All of that.
Because you can talk about that for days if you want.
Oh, I know it, but it's so important. You know, I challenge people when I do my webinars or I'm on podcasts, I'm like, just Google my name. Just go Google it, because I've got a lot of SEO that's there, and I'm on like 8 pages of Google, but it's because we've been very consistent with posting, and I'm on a lot of podcasts, and I have a podcast, and all that content does exactly what you do, right? What you just said. We just post it, we put it out, then it's on our social media, and what happens is over time, which is point 3 of the sticky note formula, which is going to be consistent marketing, over time, it catches up with you. And it's like this big snowball that you can't stop because you don't want to stop it. And then people recognize you. Okay. And so it's really, really important. But dare I say, out of all of that, what has helped me get traction over time has been my consistent message. Create your book without writing a word. And everybody's like, how do you do that? Tell me more. That's what you want in a clear message. Okay. I'm not trying to communicate everything. trying to grab your attention, and then I have a blog, or I have a podcast, or I have something that will engage you a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for. And if I want to challenge, I guess, those who are here, chime in if you have thoughts, put them in chat and we can dialogue. How clear is your message? Ask somebody to go to your website, and in a minute or two, can they actually understand what you do? Could they tell you what they do, what you do?
Ask your own employees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just how quick is that? What are you? Like I said, what makes you stand out?
Yeah.
There is something there.
Oh, there totally is something there. And I come from old school radio, so I like words, and I prefer words first, images second. So I think your message has to come first. You need to craft your message, then find some compelling images that reinforce that message.
Yes.
And I see a lot of people doing it backwards.
Nope. Word first.
Okay, great. We are just lockstep. I love this.
Michael, we're buddies.
I like it. And I haven't even seen the Grateful Dead in concert. Gosh.
Now we're not buddies anymore.
I know, but I like their music. I mean, I just haven't seen them. Here's the thing. The Grateful Dead, yeah, they only had, like you said, 2,000 listeners. That's all you need. The other myth I really want to blow up, and we haven't talked too much about myths, are you don't have to reach everybody, right?
Nope.
And Eddie was talking about that. Get your little tribe, right? At church, I'm not trying to reach my church of 500 people.
Nope.
I'm trying to reach about 50 over the next 5 years.
And those are fantastic numbers.
Okay. When I have those 50, now I have their influence with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you have to look at marketing, you know? And whether you have email list or whatever, you need to be engaging. You need to be top of mind. You start with a crystal clear message.
Yep.
I know you guys help people with that. I help people with that. If you're on this and you don't have a great message, dare I say, reach out to one of us or both of us, because you're going to struggle getting it done. You are way too close to your business, right? I'm a marketing guy. I've got 3 marketing coaches for my company. I am too close to my company to make good decisions.
Fair.
Okay. I can look into your company and probably within a day or two figure it out.
Yep.
Not because I'm that smart. It's that I'm looking from the outside in. So if you really want to get some traction with your law firm, you need a clear message. You need some credible media. So we talked about e-newsletters. We talked about a simple website with consistent messaging. Here's the other thing going back to message. If you got a clear message, it better be everywhere. Because when I go to LinkedIn or Facebook and your website and I see 3 different messages, I'm confused.
Yep.
And so don't do that. Get your clear message, right? When life throws you a curveball, that should be everywhere for William. Create a book without writing a word is everywhere for me. You need to do that. It needs to be your newsletter title, right? It needs to be in your newsletter. It needs to be on your website. It needs to be on LinkedIn. So that's consistency, which is step 3. So we've talked about clear message. Talked about credible media. And we didn't really talk about books too much. We'll get back to that because obviously
do that.
We should probably do that, because a book positions you so differently in the mind of your audience. And that's what I really want people to say, because I get people coming to me all the time saying, oh, I don't want to be the star. I get tired of, I don't want to talk about me all the time. I'm like, good, because the book's not about you. Yep. It's about your audience, but we're using your story to draw them in.
Absolutely.
And in our culture, experts have books. Yep. Right? Do you know, Eddie, you might be, you probably know Tony Robbins. You know Tony Robbins?
Absolutely. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm 40 years old. I know Tony Robbins.
Why is Tony? About 40 years ago now, he was a no-name, doing little seminars, making people walk on fire. And then he published his book called Unlimited Power. That book made Tony a household name.
Yep.
From there, he has built a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? And he's great at what he does, but you take all of the books away from Tony, and he doesn't have near the impact. Dan Kennedy. Everybody on this call probably knows Dan Kennedy, the famous marketer, right? I wonder how many, there you go. There's a great marketer for you right there who has marketing books. Dan Kennedy writes books prolifically because he understands the position it puts him in. Dan said one time, whenever he goes into a new market, chiropractic, dental, the first 2 things he does. He writes a book and he starts a monthly newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Dan Kennedy does that. I think we should all like follow suit.
And none of us can afford Dan Kennedy.
We can't,
Nope.
right? But we can watch him and we can model what he does, and we can do that as well, right? And so everybody on this call can afford to create their book when they do it properly. And if you can't afford it today, you need to put it in your 2025, 2026 plan. And today you say, well, I can't afford to do a newsletter, and I can do that every month. And guess what? If you do that every month, you're going to have great content for your book coming up.
Yep.
And you start understanding. But I think one of the things that is really outside of the sticky note formula is the strategy and the mindset of marketing. And what is it? Because I see too many attorneys chasing that next shiny object, that next thing, right? And I remember when this was right around COVID sometime, Apple came out with their online platform, Powerhouse or Apple, I don't even know what it was called. I got like in 1 week period of time, I had 8 people say, DeLon, you got to be there. You got to go because everybody's going there. If you're not there, you're going to die. And I said, well, no, I'm not. I'm not going, and I won't. I think today it's pretty much dead. It was an experiment they did, and it didn't work. It was a shiny object that captured a lot of attention. And what we teach is consistency over time. And I mean, I've not found a better investment over time than a book. A book has shelf life. A book connects with your audience in their mind. Experts are authors. That's how we think about people. And when you are an expert in your industry, you're an attorney. You might be a personal injury attorney. You might be an estate planning. I love this one, estate planning. I'm an estate planning attorney. Okay, that's great.
Yep.
That's still kind of broad. We did one, Martha Patterson, she's an attorney out in California. Her focus, because of her life experience and her husband's, dementia. So we wrote her book, and it's dementia-focused estate planning. Now, that's a niche. But you know what? Dementia affects a lot of people.
Yep.
And if you have a parent or a grandparent who's dealing with dementia, or it's in your family, which estate planning attorney are you going to choose? Just the one down the street, or the one who wrote the book on dementia-focused estate? Because there are differences. You've got to understand that. What are those differences? Well, you should read Martha's book because she's the expert on, right? That's how a book positions you. Martha is not trying to reach everybody who needs an estate plan. She's after a small market who know people.
Yep.
And she's doing quite well.
Absolutely.
So that's just another example of how the book and the clear message that we help Martha discover are putting her on a different plane. And now it's that consistent marketing that I want to talk about. And keep an eye on the chat, Jan. If anybody has a questions, let us know, because you can chime in with questions anytime, because I can talk about this stuff all day long.
Ask anything about marketing, anything you want.
I love it.
So far, just a comment from Megan, who, full disclosure, is with Spotlight as well. But yes, consistency is absolutely key. So, but yes, any thoughts, comments, questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat.
I think
I'll
Megan
flag y'all
said
down.
consistency eats intensity for breakfast. That's Megan 101 right there for you.
I was gonna say, yeah, I summarized, but I think it's better as stated. Yes, and it does apply to all marketing, consistency in everything. It
does. And Megan, well said, because what do we see if you scroll Facebook or LinkedIn? Okay, here's what you see. Hey, if you don't know this yet, but you could make 7 figures if you could just follow me. And it's like, would you just shut up? I mean, I just scroll right past those people, right? Versus that consistent dripping over time, how are you showing up? How are you showing up? How often are you showing up? Ask yourself those questions. How are you showing up? What's your message? How often are you showing up? What's your consistency over time? This is where I want you to unpack a little bit for us, Eddie, this flywheel, the loop.
The content loop. I mean, anyone that's in marketing understands what a marketing funnel is. I mean, a marketing funnel is you take a large audience, you send out a message, it might be a series of 5 emails. You might capture 15,000 people with that one. Then you try to get them down to 15, 12,000. And it gets narrower and narrower and narrower until you finally get those 1 or 2 people that book a consultation with you. That is a sales funnel. The problem that we saw with a sales funnel, and Jana put the content loop right in the chat if you want to take a look at this for a visual, is that the funnel ends. And when Michael's talking about consistency, we can't use a funnel because the funnel ends. What a content loop does is constantly it loops around your existing network. Every time that you have something, we have things that are vehicles. A social media is a vehicle to your website. A newsletter is a vehicle to your website. A blog is something that holds someone on your website. All of these things, and they don't end because you consistently put them out every month. And you stay, if you post once a day, Monday through Friday, that's something we do as well. You can post once a day, and it's right there, the content loop we call a proven process. And the thing is, with the types of content is very important here because, I mean, if we want large numbers, if we want likes, if we want, I mean, those sort of we call vanity metrics. Yeah, those might get a lot of numbers. You can put a really funny cat video up. You might get 15,000 likes. 0 of those people are going to call you for a consultation. I would rather have $100,000 than 100,000 likes. And I've never seen the correlation between the two things. So we talk about relevant content, honest, value-based relevant content. And I mentioned before the content multiplication. You're taking one piece of content and repurposing out through all these different things, e-newsletter, website, social media, video FAQs. You can use the same topic for all of them. You can you can change the way you talk about them, but you only need one idea to have multiple touch points. And the last point is we talk about evergreen consistency. If you write a blog for your website, again, I'm not even saying to hire us. If you yourself write a blog for a website, don't talk about something that happened last week or a news article or something that popped in the news yesterday. You want someone to be able to click on that 3 years from now and still get value out of it. Don't waste your time chasing what's happening right here, right now. Talk about what's common in your practice, post it, and allow it to grow and maintain that long-term relationship over years with people. Because when the time comes, I don't need a lawyer right now, but I know if I got 3 charges today, I know exactly who I'm going to because that person stayed in touch with me every day. He's one of my best friends. But the point is, I know who I'm going to. I don't need him, but he's nurtured that relationship. I mean, because we're buddies. But I'm going to know who I'm going to. So that's what we're talking about, staying consistent contact and the type of content that you put out. And that's what the content loop is, or the flywheel, as Michael is now. We might have to steal that from you. But that's what it is. It's a loop. It doesn't end. A funnel ends. We got to maintain contact. If we're maintaining contact with a network, we can't have something that ends.
And I love it. And I hope everybody got that, but the funnel ends. And here's where it ends. Most of the time, not with a sale, but sometimes it even ends with a sale. And then here's what I get. I ask, okay, so what are you doing after the sale to stay in touch with people? And I get the deer in the headlights look. Well, and the content loop fixes that.
Yep.
Because you've got your audience and the content continually goes out, whether they're a suspect, a prospect, a lead, a client, a referral. It doesn't matter. They're getting that content. You're nurturing this smaller group. One of my marketing mentors, Roy Williams, the Wizard of Ads, been following him for years and years and years. He says it's better to be a big fish in a really small pond than it is to be a small fish in a really big pond.
Yep.
And if you will focus on this content loop, if you will understand it and start creating content and repurposing it on this loop using different channels, you are going to prosper big time. So I love how the funnel stops and the loop continues. And you've got to understand that in marketing. So thank you for that.
And Joe, we had a pop-up that Joe says they talk about in their office the difference between posting evergreen content versus the news of the day content from time to time. Can you point me to some authoritative material that discusses this? Joe, you're dead on. I mean, I'm going to say yes, what you just said. You can I would say there's nothing wrong with posting news of the day from time to time. Evergreen content should be the majority. There's nothing. Don't shy away from it. I'm not saying don't cut it out entirely, but the majority should be evergreen content. Just because you don't want, just think of it logically. You don't want someone clicking on it saying this doesn't apply to me. You have a very short window to maintain credibility. And if you click on something that's outdated, you just lost it. So that's what I'm saying when we talk about evergreen content. Great question, Joe. And
Joe,
again, no worries.
Yeah, let me jump in there. We function in our company on basically the 80-20 rule. We all know what it is,
Yep.
right? So in my daily emails, every day, Monday through Friday, every day, right? About 80% of them are strictly content around marketing. 20% have some kind of a call to action, something I'm offering or something.
Yep.
I would say the same thing, Joe. 80% of your content's evergreen, really solid. 20% thing of the day. And if there's a way to take the thing of the day and make sure you're making a point on it, I would not personally. I hate going to LinkedIn and says, so-and-so just reposted this. I'm like, give me your opinion. Tell me something.
Yep.
So engage with that piece of content. Don't just be a content spreader like that. But yeah, I think you're right. It's 80-20 is a good rule of thumb. It might be 70-30, but most of the content needs to be focused on that loop. And when you do it that way versus that funnel, you're going to get more clients. I love how you guys summarize it. You get more referrals, better clients, and a higher ROI.
That's it.
Who doesn't want that?
And again, because I think people they chase the first page of Google. They think that's, I mean, we talked about timeless, tested, but I'd rather have a book on my shelf than be on the number 5th slot on Google. Because I mean, 60% of the traffic goes to the first 3 organic spots. Yeah. Regardless of where you are, you have competition. That there's more people than there is spots. So what do you want? I mean, you want something that's going to stay with you. And God forbid, if Google changes their algorithm, all the money you sunk might not be long. And everybody on SEO is trying to gamble. They're trying to guess what Google is. They're trying to beat the house. A book doesn't, there's no gamble. There's no gamble on content. There's no gamble on content marketing. And a book, just like a blog, just like a newsletter, is a touch point. You're weighing to stay in touch. Yeah. It's don't chase a shiny object.
So let's talk about Google just a minute and search and all of this. Do you want, and I'm talking to the audience who's listening here, do you want somebody going to Google and say, oh, I need an estate planning attorney in Akron, Ohio, if you're in Akron, right? And then you get all these results and you're trying to pay for, or would you rather them say, John Smith, estate attorney? Which one costs you less? Which one has no competition? And which one gets you a better client? How do you achieve that is through consistent marketing with credible media and a clear message. It's the sticky note formula, folks. This isn't rocket science. It takes some thinking. It takes a great partner like Spotlight Branding, Paperback Expert to help you create the book. One of my favorite stories is Bob Whitley. He's an attorney in North Carolina. And Bob's been an attorney for like 40 years. Hands it off to his kids now. And Bob came to me and says, Michael, I want to write a book on some of the best cases I've done. And I thought, Bob, that'd be a great book. Bob does a TV show. It's a 30-minute TV show every week called Attorney on Call. So we branded his book, Attorney on Call. In his market, everybody knows Bob Whitley, an attorney on call. I don't think he has a lot of people going typing in Google. They're typing in his name, Whitley Law Firm, Bob Whitley, or Attorney on Call. His costs are much smaller, and he's in a category of one, which is what Dan Kennedy teaches us, right? But he's been consistent over about 40 years. So if you're trying to run a short, fast race, you better have lots of money and be willing to gamble. But if you're in this for the long,
go ahead. No, yeah, we said
it's like,
no, it's like when you talk about gambling, it's like would you be willing to spend $7,000 on a bill for the chance to appear on a billboard? Google's a billboard. How much money are you willing to spend for the possibility for the chance to be on a billboard? And that's what that is. It is you take out the gamble. And again, people think, we talk about better clients, and Michael hit the nail on the head on that one. I mean, who are your clientele, and do you want the people that are price shopping? Do you want the people typing best attorney in X? How much money next? We're talking about better clients, and the people you don't want to work with. How many of them are searching on Google for people right now? The easiest and cheapest way for you to be on the first page of Google, someone type your name in. Mike said that earlier. Michael said that earlier. That is the easiest way to do it.
Yep. And let's talk referrals too. And let's go back to books. I'm going to camp on books for a second. Let's say you have a book. We have a Pintus law firm in Chicago wrote a book with us now, and they do lots of things. They're personal injury, so they do all kinds of stuff. But they came to us and they said, we are going after nursing homes and nursing home issues at nursing homes, right? Cases coming out of nursing, because there is a lot of things that happen in nursing homes that cause damage and that need to be fixed. So we took their concept and everything. We created their book. It's called Nursing Home Nightmares, right? Fighting for the rights of your loved ones, because there are a lot of people getting hurt in nursing homes. They came out with this book. Now, think about referrals. If the Pintus Law Firm has helped you and helped your loved one because they got hurt in a nursing home, okay, and they were smart, and they would look at you at the end of the day and they'd say, Eddie, thank you for trusting us. I'm so glad everything's worked out. Would you do us a favor?
Always.
Always. Would you take 4 or 5 copies of our book, and as you're talking with other people about how we served you and your family, and they may have issues as well, would you just hand them a copy of my book and say, these are the people that trust us and that really helped us? You should have the book. And that's what they'll do. And you talk about expanding your network and getting referrals of people who call you with book in hand going, hey, Eddie gave me this book. I read it. I love it. I need to talk to you because I'm not so sure that something's not happening. That's how you get quality referrals of great clients that are coming to you because of the marketing you're doing. And guess what? They're going to start getting your monthly e-newsletter, right? They're going to start getting your content. Look, it all works together, but you have to have the strategy in place and the absolute clear message. Nursing home nightmares. Okay, that separates them. That intrigues you. And then the credible media. They actually put this. I drove through Chicago one time. They had this on a billboard. Get your free
Actual
copy.
billboard. I love it.
Actual billboard. Get your free copy at our website. Okay, I thought that was brilliant. And they do it everywhere, and it's very consistent because that's one market that they're going after. Yeah, and this is how everybody can do it, whether you have the money they have or whether you don't. You have to have a clear message. You need credible media, from an e-newsletter all the way up to your Amazon best-selling book. A podcast would be great, right? Yep. Blog posts, social media, that's your media. And then consistency. And that's where the content loop comes in. It's every week you're doing something. And I tell people on email marketing, if you've never done it before, just start with 1 a week. You don't have to write a daily email like I do. Just start with 1 a week. And then take that out to social media and your blog. And pretty soon, you got a lot of content out there. And share yourself. Talk about the importance of them just really being them. And being true to their brand identity, whatever that is, Eddie. How do they do that?
I always tell it, there's nobody in the world that doesn't have a BS meter. I mean, you can't fool anybody. I mean, it just fake writing comes off contrived. I mean, someone showing up to a party wearing a celebrity shirt. I mean, you immediately just like there's an alienation level there. Yeah. No, regardless of what profession you're in. I mean, this is a weird story. I was in Cape Cod with my daughter the other day. The guy behind the counter was serving ice cream. Turns out he graduated from MIT. He had his card on him. He owned 22 businesses. He owned 2 of the biggest buildings in Boston. He was serving ice cream. And he was joking around. He says, you know what, all this MIT stuff, all this money, the only thing that's only is that people like me. I think it's the only reason I've gotten success here is because people like me. And again, he's behind the counter serving ice cream. And he's having fun because his daughter's back there and he's trying to train her how to run a business. Yeah. So, I mean, everyone's got a BS meter. And I immediately connected with this guy. He told me, he's like, I'm scooping ice cream. But he was pointing, he's like, people like me. I don't know why, but that's the only thing that's gotten through here. So, and if you can't, if you want to create a persona, you're putting a wall, you're putting the stone in front of you and your potential clients. They like ice cream more. Good point. But I mint chocolate chip. But but the thing is, you're putting this wall up there, and again, people are coming to you, whether you're a financial advisor, whether you're an attorney, they're coming to you at very vulnerable moments. They don't want to be intimidated. They don't want to see the Cornell stack on the back. It's great. It establishes credibility, but that's not what you put in front of you. You put in front of you is like, what can I do for you? And you always make the message about them. The message on you, we talk about the subject lines, we talk about books. You never want the message to be about your law firm. You want the message to be something they can resonate. Everyone's a hero of their own story. Everyone's imagining themselves as the ice cream scooper over in 20. They're not measuring me going, oh my God, this guy runs 22 businesses. But that is, you make the story about them. Be human, be kind, be honest. Everyone's in advertising. Advertising doesn't do anything on me. I can't be fooled by that. There's no trick here. Honesty in front of everything. If you're honest, it works every time.
Can I just, I'm going to put you on the spot for a good way,
Uh-oh.
right?
Uh-oh.
Here we go, folks. We've been talking about clear message, about them, and what your website should look like. So I just pulled this up.
There we go.
All right, if you're an attorney and you come to Spotlight Branding, what's it about? More referrals, better clients, and higher ROI. You can schedule a demo. You can get a marketing blog. You can watch a video. This is all without scrolling, folks. And oh, look, they've got a book. You can download their book, right? And another one. Do you see how simple this is? This is so client focused. Now go to your website and see if it's this crystal clear. Look at all the white space. This is so inviting. Well done, friends. Well done.
Not to mention the picture of Jana in the bottom right-hand corner. You missed that part.
I know.
I'm a real person. She is a real person. She's right here.
I'm a real person.
She's real.
Your check's in the mail, Michael. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. She's not some bot or anything, but
Give to receive. Give to receive.
When somebody comes, they're searching there, and when they see what they're looking for, they're willing to stop and start engaging and building a relationship. I love the video. I think video on the front page of your website is a big deal. It's not a mandatory thing, but a lot of times you can just talk and say, two videos, say, hey, thanks for stopping by. Here's who I am. Here's what we do. Love to serve you. Check out the website. Got a couple things. Just amazing. I can't believe we are in 2024 when we're recording this. The second largest search engine in the world, if I understand, is YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
TikTok is really big. They're both video based.
Yep.
I can't believe how few attorneys use video in their marketing.
It's humanizing.
Totally is. I use a lot of video. I use a lot of video on called Loom, Loom.
Yep.
And I do a lot of, most of the emails I send are Loom videos because I connect with people that way. I speak with my hands. If you cut my arms off, I go mute.
Yeah, I don't know what you do, Mike.
But I speak so much faster than I type, and I want to communicate. And I just think attorneys should be using Loom or some kind of video format to build relationships and things. And it humanizes you. And I think if we take anything out of this today, it's really to be human. Be you. Don't get all hung up in this AI world. There is a place for AI. Okay, absolutely. It's not front and center, right? It's there to support you, but you need to be. I'm hiring you, and I need to know who you are. We did a book for I'm gonna bounce industries here, financial advisor, and we were talking with him about different things, and he was getting ready to start his book, and he just offhanded said, I went biking with my family the other day and things, and he's like, it's really interesting. Most of my clients at this one place, they're big bikers because we live in the mountainous areas and things. I'm like, whoa. Have bikers like bicycling, right? I said, can we weave that into your book? And so we wove bicycling into his book. And I said, man, Stephen, when you are out on the trail with your kids, I want you to stop and just grab your phone and just do a short video on the trail that your audience knows, right? Because they all bike in the same spot, and just talk about how you help them or whatever and say, okay, see you later, and get back on your phone. It connects at a different level. He did that. He's had so many responses from his email and things. He's gained clients from it because it personalized him. Just what you were saying. He gave up the suit and the tie, and he's just him. And over the last 2 or 3 years, because of being real, his business has just about doubled now. And it's not because of me or anything. It's those ideas. It's because he's real. People trust him. And attorneys can do exactly the same thing. Okay. Nobody cares that you graduated from Yale. They really don't. They want to know, are you a real person? Do you have kids? Do you go to the playground? Do you play baseball? Do you play soccer? What do you, that's what I want to know about you. I trust that you're going to help me with my case. We'll get there. But it comes to a clear message, right?
Love it.
Credible media. You don't have to have a book. I think a book's the coolest marketing tool around because it allows you the platform. All of your ideas and concepts are in one place, and now you can put them out in your content loop, right? And you can always go back, and I'm biased. There's no greater call to action when you're on a podcast or something. Just go get a free copy of my book.
Low threshold.
At my website, just like you guys are doing, right? They're at my website, and they might find something else more interesting. And then they're going to download that, and they're going to get to know, like, and trust me. And pretty soon, they're either going to refer me, or what happens a lot of time is you're going to know somebody who says something about wanting to do a book, and you're like, I know a guy. He shows up in my inbox all the time. Let me connect you, right?
Toma.
That's how it works. That's how it
How
works.
it
So
works.
that's the sticky note formula that we've talked about for a while. It's a clear message. You have one inside of you. Let us help you get that out. Right? You can schedule a call. Jana, maybe throw in the chat, Jana, how they would schedule a call with you, or is it at your website? I'll put mine in there as well, because we want people. See, this is where, look at that. There it is. I got it. Speakwithmichael.com is my calendar. Just book a 15 or 25-minute call with me. We'll talk about your message, because that's number one. That's where we're always going to start, is your clear message. I think Spotlight Branding is going to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Credible
URL.
media. Okay. What media do
I was
you?
going to say,
Yeah.
no, I was saying I need to get a cool URL like you do for my
Yeah,
booking
we're
thing.
yeah,
That's a
you
that's a
blew us out
great
of the
one.
water with the that was way to show us up, Michael. I
speakwithmichael.com.
appreciate
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Thank you. I appreciate that, because that's a clear
Good
message.
branding. It
it.
is.
Is. All right,
Remember.
fair enough. Good point. You really brought that home with that one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
And I've been using it for years, so it's consistent, right?
Yep.
But it's a clear message. You've got to have that first. That's the starting point, I think, of all marketing, as a message, because that's going to make you not Charlie Brown's teacher. It's going to give you something to stand upon. It's a message that comes from within you, so that you don't ever have to worry about, can I say that? Can I talk about it? Yeah, I can talk about my story all day long, because it's my story. That's what we want to help you create. So clear message, credible media. I can help you do a book and a podcast. Spotlight Branding can help you do about 12 other things. And
Yep.
the cool thing is, it's all right where your audience is.
Yep.
Okay. You don't need to be doing all of this stuff, because you're an attorney. You need to be focused on serving your clients and having a partner like Spotlight Branding doing all of this other stuff for you, so that your marketing will be consistent. Because you and I both know, if you're doing it, it is not consistent. You're going to do it for a week or two, and then you're going to get distracted into over here. And then you're going, no wonder it's so frustrating. No wonder you're not getting the client flow that you want. No wonder you're not getting the referrals you want. You're not being consistent. So let me implore you. There you. I'm not going to employ you. I'm going to implore you. Let me implore you to reach out. Spotlight Branding, you've got the link there. Reach out to me, schedule a call. We're here to help you, here to serve you. If there's anything we can do to help
Michael,
you.
don't worry about us. So you have to, make a book. Make a book. I mean, yeah, get a book, get it in your office, put it on the top of your desk. I mean, get a book. Wait, don't worry about Spotlight Branding. Worry about Michael. We're good.
Go to that good URL over there.
That's
click
an
on that
awesome URL. So
well, as you can tell, folks, we really appreciate each other, and we just push each other back, because if you're talking to me and you need a flywheel, a marketing flywheel, or a loop, I'm going to send you to Spotlight Branding. And if you're talking to them,
Michael, this is how this works. This is how the referral network works. I mean, it's happening right now. I mean, it's like a movie of Inception. I mean, it's happening as we're talking. There it is.
Yeah, so that's what we want to help you understand. But the sticky note formula, you all have sticky notes in your house, on your office. I've got them now in cassette form, and I'm going to play them over and over. But it makes your message memorable. It makes it stay around a long time, and it gives you that credibility, that consistency in your marketing, so that people will choose you over everybody else. I'm done. We got about a minute left. You got anything else for the good of the cause? Anybody got any last minute things to say?
No, you've been a great audience. I appreciate the chats. I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the attention. I mean, if we can help you in any way we can, even if we don't working together, if you have a question about marketing, give us a call, give Michael a call, just talk. I mean, we're in this business. We honestly, genuinely like to help people. I mean, it's letting you see your vision through. It's a facilitation process. We're here to help. That's it.
Absolutely. Okay, folks, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. Tell other people about us, and we may do something like this again. This was really fun.
Mike, we're definitely doing this again. I mean, you're yeah. I can only understand about one every third word. So I mean, I got to get at least 3 more in me to understand everything you had to say. The Southern speak and the speed. I mean, it's just impressive. It's a whole dichotomy.
That's awesome. I love it. You guys take care. Everybody, thanks for joining us. God bless.
Love you guys.